So what tips can you render, Ma, on how to cope with people whose voice are destined to be harsh, irrespective of the conversation?
Accept them. Accept them. And then you need to accept them is not easy because that's not the way you look at the world. Now that you know that they're not doing it to hurt you, that's just the way they talk. Then you need to accept them. Of course, if it bothers you so much, I'm one person to always confront, but the method of confrontation for me is different now. I would probably cook you breakfast and cook you lunch and be awesome, and then come and say, guy, stop talking to me like that. I can't hear you. It bothers me. But before I get to that, I will just start with accepting them. Because you see, all of us come from different places. I know that we all come from Lagos, like if you and the person grew up in Lagos, but we have different experiences, we have different parents, we call it the model of the world. The way we approach the world, our perspective of the world, and the way it has shaped us is different. So I come from a house where all of us are sort of like, we are very sort of like boti in a very street, very down to earth, Kuala local way. So I'm not necessarily very, what do you call boti in English? I'm not very, very bougie in a way that I'm similar to somebody who grew up in Korea and I'm like, ugh. But I'm still like that. And there's some things that I don't get. I grew up in a middle class home. No, we don't shout, we don't keep malice, we don't do certain things. And then you live with somebody who doesn't know how to express himself. Somebody who would rather not tell you what you've done because they just don't feel like it. They grew up in a house where that's the norm. And so it became a clash. It is always a clash. What's there in just saying that this is what I did? Now you live with somebody who talks too loud. That's where it's coming from. It comes from a place where maybe all of them in their houses just have to talk on top of their voices. That it has become the way it is. It has become a part of it. Does he need to unlearn it? Yes. However, he's not going to unlearn it with nagging and frustrations and all of that. No. The first thing when you understand your audience is to accept them. It could be easier for you to accept if you understand where he's coming from. Where is he coming from? Look at his family. I'm assuming it's a he, it could be a she. Where is she coming from? Look at their family. When you go to their houses and you see everybody in their house, when you go to their house and everybody's shouting, are you like, okay, this is how you shout in your house? So let me give you an example. My sister was telling me that her husband said she's always banging the door. So I went to stay in their house. I went to Abuja and I was staying over at their place and I banged the door and my sister said, you have come again. And I was like, what happened? You banged the door. He said, I did. You're always banging the door. Like, wait. Said that was the feedback her husband gave her the first 2 years of marriage, that she's always banging the door. I didn't even know I was banging the door. That's how we used to bang the door. That's how we bang the door in our house. So I'm not doing it to frustrate anyone. I'm not doing it to break the peace. I just bang doors because it's not a big deal where I come from. And so it's until if apparently the husband is patient enough to say, I don't like doors banging. Doors banging to me means that we're fighting. It means that somebody is angry. And then it just disrupts the silence. Could you please be gentle? And she has stopped. Now, when I went to their own house too, I started to close my door gently. In my own house, I don't close my house gently because nobody minds. So you need to understand the person. It doesn't mean that the person is bad. That's just the way they are. I don't bang doors because I'm rude. I don't bang doors because I'm terrible. I just bang doors because I'm trying to close it. My father used to have a Mercedes Benz in the 90s. And if you don't close it very well, it will not close. That's why. No offense.